You are invited on an adventure across all of time and space, in a completely random order. It's the Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. Jump in the TARDIS with your hosts,
Eric Gulbranson,
Asad Kheshki,
and
Matthew Kressel.
Explore Doctor Who TV stories, audio adventures, and books, both novels and non-fiction. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. It's the entire Whoniverse on shuffle. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast is a member of the Direction Point Network and is available about once a month wherever you find your podcasts. You are listening to the Doctor Who Gives a Fuck podcast on the Direction Point Doctor Who Podcast Network, a drunken Doctor Who podcast for the end times.
Sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back. So can you arrange that?
Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, a drunken group therapy session for the end times. This is JB in New Orleans.
And this is Sean, soon to regenerate into Zoe in Austin. I don't know, I had to say something random.
Lelon in California.
And I think if I'm going to regenerate into a random companion, I think I would want it to be, fuck it, let's just do it, Amy Pond. Okay, Chris Buchanan has just texted us, me and Sean. He says, I gotta read it here. I am so over this fucking show.
I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
And JB and I were talking about this before we hit record, and I don't want to go all in like this now. I think it's only been 24 hours, less than 24 hours actually for me. I want to wait. I want to see. I don't know if what the BBC or what RTD or what Disney has done is genius or it's just stupid.
It's stupid.
I kind of like the idea. Okay, fine. Okay, I suppose we should talk about like the whole first 90% of the show.
Well, yeah. Story. I mean, how do we want to do this? Like, do we want to talk about Wishworld first, and then get into the reality war, or do we just want to take it all in?
I don't know. It just all these two-part finales. The first part just feels like irrelevant the week after, right? What does it matter if Wishworld were good? Let's just pretend. Like, let's say it was amazing. Does it matter? Because this one was so. If the finale is a huge letdown, it almost doesn't matter how good Wishworld was. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Wishworld was great.
No,
I think
it's not. By no means was it any good. No.
Yeah, so I don't think it really. I don't think we're robbing it if we just sort of skip over. It's just frustrating because it's like, how many times in your life do you sit down for a Doctor Who episode and like genuinely have no idea? Generally, anything could have happened here, and this is what we got.
Yeah,
I watched. I did not know that I was. This is going to sound. I mean, this will sound silly. Like, when the show came back in 2005, I was behind on my 8th Doctor novels. So I was avoiding and it was easier back then. I was avoiding everything about Doctor Who on the internet, but I was still watching the show.
Yeah.
And so I went into the Christopher Eggleston regeneration dead cold, and it was amazing. I hadn't heard anything, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything about this. I hadn't seen any rumors.
Yeah.
I had seen the Billy Piper nonsense thing and dismissed it because it happened. That's an evergreen rumor in Doctor Who that Billy Piper was coming back or whatever. Totally shocked at everything that was supposed to be shocking, but it was like,
the moment, like just the moments before the change, I was thinking, because I heard whispers of this rumor that that Billy Piper was going to be cast as a new Doctor, and I was just in my head like, please don't you fucking dare do it, fuck me, I'm done.
Yeah. It's like a stupid rumor that would have been made up by the Daily Mail.
Yeah, I have a foolproof system that is 100% for predicting the accuracy of a Doctor Who spoiler, which is that if it sounds cool, it's not true, and if it sounds terrible, it is true, and it always works.
And
because we thought we were going to get Peter Davison as Omega,
yes!
Right? And I'm like, the show that had Doctor Who 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago was not cool enough to do that.
No.
And Doctor Who now, I think it is cool enough to do that. So they could have done it, but then they didn't. And then, I mean, look, I know I'm jumping around a lot.
That's fine.
Why are you teasing
so does this episode? So does this.
Why are you teasing Why are you teasing the return of Gallifrey? Something all the fans want and have been repeatedly pissed off that you've teased before and failed to deliver. But why would you tease that and fail to deliver it again? Like, what are you thinking? Have you not followed any of? We know from those crazy Doctor Who magazine interviews with Russell T Davies that he is following fandom. It's a little uncomfortable how closely he follows the fandom, but he thinks this is a good idea. There's a stubbornness at play here that is not serving the show.
Okay, I'm gonna cut to the chase right now. I was gonna save this to the end, but this 2-part episode was. I'm going to describe it in 2 words. Technically, it's 3 words, but 2 of the words are kind of combined. 2 words: bad fanfic.
Yes.
This was
and
nothing but bad fanfic.
And I'm really tired of having to say that about RTD. If this was some other author, except Stephen Moffat, I'd be like, whatever, I'll go. But I know I've been bitching about it in the past. But he was doing so good. Every episode wasn't perfect. We all know how much I hate Space Babies. But
we didn't know how. I mean, what Space Babies was supposed to be nothing. It was supposed to be nothing. It wasn't supposed to pivot. The whole fucking series wasn't supposed to pivot around this fucking joke of an episode.
Yeah. I was excited about the Ronnie. Completely wasted. There's 3 people, Pip, Jane Baker, and Kate O'Mara are spinning in their graves today. Probably not. They probably don't care. Kate O'Mara is probably like, well, I picked up a check in LA one time. For signing some autographs for this stupid old show. Because, really, she doesn't really, she's not Anthony Ainley. She was in one bad episode and one kind of okay episode at a time in the show, and nobody remembers.
Would it be correct to say that her only 2 appearances were in the 2 worst seasons of the original show? Mm-hmm. Right, the first Ellen Baker season and the first Sylvester McCoy season, are those the worst?
And don't forget to mention In Time.
Oh, yeah. Pickled in time like gherkins in a jar.
I mean, Dimensions of Time is fucking Shakespeare compared to this.
Someone did point out that if the show gets canceled, the Ronnie is going to become this like cursed Babe Ruth-esque thing where it's like her next reappearance, everyone's going to freak out because that'll mean the show's canceled. Like they'll never want to do her again.
Oh, I don't know if I agree about old Mrs. What's-Her-Name being the Ronnie's previous incarnation. I think that we're going to find out that Susan is actually Rose somehow, that there was some split in time.
Okay, you're reaching. You're fucking reaching.
Okay, this is probably a 3 or 4 part story. And he has no fucking idea what's going to go happen.
Yeah, no. This was a stunt. It was a stunt to get news footage, and fucking I wanted to AP News because the only source I go to AP News. That's my only news source because I won't go into anything else. And my fucking God, they had a fucking story about this fucking episode about Billy Piper now, who's the 16th Doctor. But is she though? Because the BBC are like, well, maybe she is, and maybe she isn't, and. They're still stringing along the fangirls, Because that's all who's left now. It's the fangirls.
I mean, I would say that's crazy because RTD would not be stupid enough to do that.
Oh, he is. He's
can't say
completely
that.
stupid. No, he's complete. I have lost all fucking faith in Artel.
The implication of the final scene is unquestionable. There is no second interpretation of what it means.
Oh, well, at this point, they can just do whatever the fuck they want. And they have.
You told me you weren't going to yell.
Well, I lied.
There was this joke on the West Wing like 20 years ago, and it was they were doing a missile defense test, and they said, "Mr. President, the test succeeded on 9 of 10 criteria." The president says, "Well, what's the 10th criteria?" And they said, "Hitting the target." That is exactly what this season feels like. I love everything except the plots and the way the characters are reacting to the plots. But if you fix that, I love the aesthetic. I love everything else he's doing. I love the casting. I love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. It just doesn't make a lick of sense.
Oh,
and
no,
I don't know any of it. This is clearly an attempt to do a big The End of Time reunion from all the characters of this era. This era has been here 10 minutes. We've had 16 normal episodes of Doctor Who, and 3 of them were Dr. Light episodes. I don't care about any of these people even a little, and it's especially hard to care for the imaginary baby that was introduced the last episode. But Millie Gibson almost pulls it off. Like, she is unquestionably the MVP of this era. Every time she shows up, I feel like I'm watching a better show, and then every time she's off screen, I feel like I'm watching a show like a league below.
Yeah, and
she's the only
Ruby. I mean, well, she's not the only companion to get shat on in this episode, but Ruby especially. I mean, they're practically gaslighting her. It's like there's no baby. What the fuck are you talking about? You know,
And she should know better too, that there is no baby. There probably was a baby, but they don't remember it. Because hello, have you not been through all those adventures before and remember this?
I actually thought they were just going to leave it at that for a minute, right? I thought she was just going to be like, I know I'm right, but I'm never going to convince him, and that's the it. And that would have been maybe more horrifying than what they eventually did. I don't know. But like, man, dude, people are real upset about the way Belinda was written out of the show.
She was
practically
she was practically shoved. She was practically fridged because they shoved her in a fucking box.
Literally put her in a box.
Okay, I'm going to sound really bad to people who have kids. I'm really sorry, but they had a great character here. She was a professional. She was caring. She had a great. Well, she was okay in it the rest of the episode, but I liked her. I wanted to see her develop. I thought this was going to be a bump in the road. No. Oh, she's better off as, a single mom.
Okay, no, it's even worse than that. Because, so basically they're saying that in the Wish world, John Smith and Belinda were a married couple and they had sex and they produced Poppy.
Well, they didn't have sex because it's just a memory.
No. But the doctor's like, Poppy was real, and she's my baby, and it really it's really insidious because it's like they had sex, but they weren't themselves, so it was non-consensual.
I think you've literally spent more time thinking on it than the writer thought about it.
They had to at some point they had to have fucked because they're sharing this. I mean, if this was Conrad's true 1950s make Britain great again, they would have been in fucking separate beds like Lucy and Ricky.
They make a point to note. Belinda says in the episode, "I remember her as my daughter, therefore she is my daughter," which means she would have to remember everything else.
Yeah, but that's fucking bullshit because
bullshit.
Because basically the doctor had to regurgitate all his regenerative energy to save Poppy, and then we get these scenes of her talking about Poppy, which didn't happen until he did whatever he did. So it's basically the show gaslighting the audience. Because we're seeing all this shit, and then what the fuck about him saving her when she was like 16. She almost got hit by a car.
Oh, that was new. Yeah.
And then like he held her when she was a baby, and like, what the hell?
When are you this companion is on for one season, and it makes you look like you've spent all this time going back and rescuing her from certain things. I'm not getting that. I mean, this isn't Amy Pond. It's not.
It's supposed to be a callback to when they were merged in that one scene in the season premiere.
Okay.
Which I don't remember.
And they were going through the rocket, and they went through the time dilation nonsense. And,
if there's an explanation for it,
you're not. I mean, it's ridiculous to expect you to remember anything from that terrible episode, and for that to be, I don't know. Like, look, it doesn't. It almost doesn't matter whether or not this version of Belinda is better or worse. She's just an entirely different person than the person we've spent the entire season with. So who cares?
Yeah.
They do that so often now. You know, Maisie Williams goes off to fight crimes. I mean, I know Georgia Moffat, the doctor's daughter, was an official companion, but she kind of does the same thing. Amy Pond, she has to. It's like they did it with Bill. They did it with fucking Perry. But that was cool back then because Perry, it was olden times. It's not like it happens every season back then. They did it with Rose up to a point. I don't know. I think that's all I can think of right now. Can we say something nice? Say something nice. I'll say something nice.
You go ahead and say something nice.
I have lots of nice things to say about it.
Okay, I have no nice things to say about this.
I am really sorry to say that this may be Jodie Whittaker's my favorite 5 minutes of Jodie Whittaker as the doctor.
I know.
And the two of them were really good together while it lasted. And I thought about it afterwards. I thought maybe that's because they're like the Gen Z doctors. Like they're the nice doctors. Like before that, we had Peter Capaldi and Christopher Eccleston. And these are just like the happy doctors. One says, I love you. The other one has that, feminine touch. That's horrible. I shouldn't have said that.
Okay. I will say that was nice to see her again, but it was a completely needless cameo.
I know. But
it was... I mean, it was just for me. It was a reminder that just like Ncuti Gatwa, she was also cheated by bad writing, but I think I did come to a corner here because I reassessed Chris Chibnall completely. I think Chris Chibnall was actually trying his best, but the job was beyond his fucking skill set.
Yeah, I guess he probably should have given more scripts to more writers.
Right. I think he had an idea. He just could not do it well. He just could not tell the story. As opposed to Russell T. Davis, who has in my mind he's gone. He's long gone. He's completely lost the fucking plot.
I thought the Yaz line in particular was of poor taste because to whatever degree that storyline needs to be fixed, you're not going to do it here.
No.
And it doesn't feel like I know anything now that I didn't know before, which was that for whatever reason, the 13th Doctor had a real hard time talking about things. And it was never explained, and it's still not explained, but that is...
Well, I mean, it kind of was, because she was sort of set up as this sort of a childlike but socially awkward doctor, because she had such a hard time dealing with the fact that Graham was worrying about getting his cancer back, and he's just like, no, I can't, no. I'm feeling very uncomfortable about this right now, and we should change the subject.
Okay.
I got that. I mean, I don't know if it was entirely successful, but I get that. But I mean, Darlene still said that she acted just like David Tennant in the scene.
I was purposely looking for the kung fu pose and did not say it. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, she didn't have to exposition it. Thank God she wasn't there for the fucking 10-minute exposition scene. Holy fuck.
The thing with like the 13th Doctor is like, if they're going to do it right, you just got to bring her back for a full episode and give her a proper crossover and treat her as a full character. I don't know that Russell T, like at the beginning when Russell T Davies was throwing in all those lines that were like acknowledging that the Doctor was adopted, it sounded like he was like telling the fans, it's like, hey, you guys were a little mean to Chibnall. It's still Doctor Who. We're going to live with it. and then we're going to move on, right? But it was like him throwing him a bone. It's a lot easier to throw him a bone when you're actually making good Doctor Who, right? This isn't I mean, it's better, but it's not that much better. I think the lesson here, like my reassessment of the Chibnall era, is that this is really hard. It's harder than I thought it was, because Russell T Davies used to know how to do it, right? And can't. And so this is just a lot, I think just a lot maybe harder than we think. Yeah. But look, this is what happened. He wrote a 3-season arc with the Doctor and the Companion. The Companion left after season 1, the Doctor left after season 2, and this is the episode you get when that happens. That alone doesn't really justify what they put on screen here, but that's what happened here. They blew up his entire plan. You cannot tell me that the plan he had for the character of Rogue was to appear on this television in one of the worst CGIs I've ever seen and tell him something about the tables. Like that can't have been the plan for this character. And there was obviously something planned for Susan. Like, you cannot bring her back for that without any explanation, right? Like, there was a larger plan here, and Ncuti Gatwa left early.
She's going to come back. She'll come back.
No, she won't. No, she'll be dead. She'll be dead.
Yeah, she needs to live.
She'll be dead by the time they're trying to figure out what they're going to fucking do. Caroline Funk's not. I mean, she's no. God.
Have you seen the pictures online of like that very last frame of the episode, which is like Billie Piper's face?
Yeah, it's all over the fucking internet.
It is such a perfect, like, if the show's canceled, it's kind of a perfect epitaph as to what happened. Yeah. Like, it is the perfect image to summarize where Doctor Who kind of ended up after 20 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, more good things. More good things.
Okay, more good things, and then I got a whole bunch of notes here that I want to go through. So go ahead and get your good things out.
Do you have any more good things, Sean?
I actually don't mind anymore when they put in some of this old footage of old doctors.
Oh, I'm done. No, I'm fucking done.
I'm sorry. I like it. Since they did it for Name of the Doctor.
Cheap. It's fucking cheap. What it is, it's the pictures of Dorian Gray. It's basically, we got to look at this old footage in order to keep this corpse of a show alive.
To make the old fans happy. The old men like us.
Well, I'm not happy.
Well, I don't know. Okay. All right. Pass the witness.
That was a good one. Okay. So look, the alternative dystopian parallel universe story in sci-fi is the most boring thing ever at this point. Mm-hmm. Every show's done it. Doctor Who's done it many times. This was done really well. It was really terrifying when the Doctor let slip that he thought this guy was good looking when he's not supposed to say that in this reality. The scene where Belinda realizes there's something wrong but can't say anything, so she goes out to the woods in the middle of the night and just starts screaming.
I was laughing hysterically at that scene. She runs, all of a fucking sudden she's in the woods and she's like screaming, and it's like, you fucking go, girl.
I never made that connection. In other words, he shouldn't be saying that what's his name is handsome unless he's gay, which means that
you're not allowed
their whole marriage is a lie.
You're just not allowed to be gay in Conrad's world,
I guess.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just found it fucking hysterical, and then she reports him anyway.
That didn't line up. But like that scene where she's screaming is just, I actually found it really kind of like terrifying in another scene that I thought.
I was laughing my ass off when she was doing that.
I didn't think Doctor Who could do that. But I guess I think the problem with that is that first episode should have been about that alternate world. They wake up. You tell a story that is a metaphor for resistance politics. You spread doubt, right? The Doctor wakes up his friends and they have the huddle and they're like, the Ronnie's doing this. We've got to stop her. She's trying to harvest the energy. You spread doubt. And then the end of that first episode is the reveal that it was the Ronnie's plan all along that you spread doubt because she's trying to break it. Instead, we just get her monologuing for 30 minutes in a way that's really boring and uninteresting. Mm-hmm. And then at the beginning of this episode, we go back and we do it all over again. We go back and we're waking people up, and it's like we already did this last time. You needed to wrap this up in the last story so that this story could be focused on Omega and who he is. By the way,
That wasn't
where
fucking
did this
ornament. No,
terrible
no.
fucking Omega lore come from? Is this
No.
audio
that
bullshit?
Was completely, no, that was completely, or that was a complete retcon. That was
Okay.
a fucking complete. I mean, he was not. Okay, first of all, he was not the first Time Lord who became a crazy god and got banished to the underworld or wherever the fuck that is. No, he was originally the solar engineer who gave the Time Lords the energy source needed to time travel, and he only went mad because he got stuck in the fucking anti-matter universe. And by the way,
he was a hero. He was the founding father.
The Factor, looked up to him as a hero, and antimatter wasn't even mentioned in the. I mean, the second that the fucking huge claw came out of the fucking door of Rassilon, it should have blown up fucking everything. Because matter and antimatter do not mix.
I was going to say, when the huge claw wrapped around the doorway, I have to admit, I thought that was kind of effective. And then I immediately stopped and thought, oh my God, that's not Peter. That better not be Peter Davison.
No.
Actually, I think that would have been awesome. If it had been it was the CGI face.
I would have taken that, and I would have taken like the original Three Doctors costume, complete with the glitter. But no, once again, RTD turns a beloved villain from the classic series into a slavering CGI giant monster.
I thought it was terrifying. I'm sorry. I thought
I was.
Do you ever see in that scene in Poltergeist when that big face, that skull face, pops out of the kid's closet? Or the monster, the creature that they created at the end of Alien Resurrection? I read that one earlier today. I thought it looked. I know it was CGI. I thought it was just ridiculous that it just.
But that's fine. I mean, that's fine. This was not fucking Omega. It was just a stupid CGI monster that grabs the fucking Ronnie and eats her.
And then it hangs out for 5 minutes, and then we're on to the next plot point, that being Poppy, I think. And also, he needs to start setting his the ends of his story. Stop setting. Well, this one wasn't really Act 3, but the final action set. Stop setting it in Unit all the time. Stop. I'm tired of that room in Unit. You cannot top the scene with Neil Patrick Harris doing that whole
they
goofy
pay for
thing.
that fucking set. They're gonna fucking use it.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. He's just telling on that.
I mean, the whole battle sequence with the bone dinosaurs. I mean, what the fuck was up the bone dinosaurs?
Those are kind of cool, but I don't know what the fuck that was.
I kept shouting at the television set, "Go for the legs! It's the only chance you'll stop them." Did no one see the Empire Strikes Back, for fuck's sake?
My one hope for the episode was that Omega would not be a CGI monster. Like I wanted him to be a character that they could play off of, and there's so many interesting things. This is Fanny, but like doing the videos of the Doctor's faces and all this other stuff, and then telling an Omega story where you don't use the words antimatter or Eye of Harmony, you're just not doing your job. Like there's no other way to say it. Like
you're retconning everything.
This is free money. Like you just leave it on the table. I don't know what you're doing.
Oh God.
But I don't. That's the original version is so much more interesting because he feels betrayed because he feels that they left him.
And not only that, the whole situation with the Wish World, and it's basically falling apart. That's the antimatter world of Rassilon. That was the whole point of the Three Doctors. He created his own world, but he couldn't sustain it.
And now it's the underbelly nonsense. It's like
God.
This may be giving him too much credit, but I think the 3-season arc was going to be the gods come back, they cause a lot of trouble, then the Ronnie comes back, and the Ronnie is because going back to the New Adventures, the whole thing about the old Gallifreyans was that the old Gallifreyans killed all the gods. They ran around the universe, killing anything that was mysticism or anything like that. They chopped their heads off.
You have been reading the books, haven't you?
Yes. And then they became scientific. So scientific that they didn't even have sex to reproduce anymore. Like that was the whole thing.
Don't get me fucking started on that. Okay, no,
we'll get there. But that's the point. Like they're so mechanical in nature that they're sterile, right? And so that is so much more interesting and so then the Ronnie comes back and she's that old school Time Lord that hates the gods, and then that was going to be the thing of season 3, which is like hard science versus the gods. What should Doctor Who be doing? Which version of Doctor Who wins? And the Doctor's in the middle. I don't know. Maybe it's too much credit, but like clearly there was something else that was going to happen here. No. And it got tanked.
What you just said, Lelon, if you could transform that into a 2-page treatment, and then we give it to RTD to write a script of it, assuming that he doesn't add anything substantive to change the story, I would totally watch that. I would put my trust in that.
Okay, well, see, the problem is though is that RTD would not accept the script because me and Lelon are great white males.
And we've talked about this 2017 times, but it's like nobody's around to say, "Hey, RTD, settle down." It's kind of like the president.
I just don't know why you want to poorly adapt Wilderness Era material. Like either do something new or just do it right. But why are you doing the worst version of it? It just doesn't make any sense.
I think for him, it's for him that was really the golden days. I mean, he's the king of Doctor Who now, but back then it was all,
as far as I'm concerned,
going to pubs, hanging out, writing original stories, sharing them with your friends like Mark Gatiss and Steve Shearsmith and Paul Cornell and Gareth Roberts and all those guys. So I think he just always wants to harken back to that. And I admit it's not something that I enjoyed in the books. The gods, definitely. I see that.
Someone pointed out that if you go to Google and ask for an AI summary of the finale, you'd think it was hallucinating and like making stuff up. Like you would. It sounds ridiculous. Like if you just list all the things that happen in plain order, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds made up.
I have a question for y'all because the Jodie Whittaker era was just a fucking blur for me. Not because I was drunk the whole time, but come on, please. How can I remember a lot of that? The story, I was going about half of this story of the second episode. Actually, before that, I think even in the first episode, I was thinking that Poppy would turn out to be the fugitive doctor. Or am I just thinking that because I'm racist? I don't know. I thought they were setting that up for that because then we find out later on that she might be half Time Lord, half human. And I'm like, oh, he's retconning Paul McGann's line in the TV movie. But they didn't even try to do anything as cool as that, and I wouldn't want them to anyway.
I did think it was funny where Ronnie said that she can't use Poppy because she's half human, and the entire room just kind of groans at her like it's a joke.
I noticed that. I see. Why don't I see these things?
Yeah, that was actually really funny. They should have leaned into that more. Just make it a farce.
That's basically. That was basically RTD's whole point of the whole thing was basically the Ronnie was making her master race speech, and everyone was like, "Oh, fuck you, fuck whatever." The Ronnie, I'm sorry, for a character that I don't even like, I never liked. The Ronnie was wasted. She was completely wasted. She's very camp, very one-dimensional, and she gets eaten by a fucking CGI monster.
Yeah, maybe the definition of camp is just so much more campy today, but like the Ronnie was not that camp in the 80s. Like maybe that was camp for the 80s on the BBC. Maybe that's what she could get away with, but she's like... She's walking around. She's doing experiments.
Come on.
She's dressed a little whatever. This was way more camp, I thought.
No,
I agree. No,
really?
I would agree. No. I would agree with you. I would agree. Yeah.
Leave the girl. It's the man I want. I mean, how can you fucking say that on a professional?
Great line.
Camp.
Yeah, it's a.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. She was just no, and it's just her flying around in the Flash Gordon scooter. Oh my God!
Okay, well, the Flash Gordon scooter was a little much, but I do appreciate the cappiness. I get that they pay, and the bifurcation, regeneration that they did with her. Tired of it. Don't do it anymore, please. You used it to get David Tennant in the show. I don't want to see it again. Maybe 5 years from now. But
I don't ever want to see it again. I actually think it's kind of poisonous to the franchise.
They try to make a point that maybe bi-generation is the way that they procreate because they're infertile. And it's like, and then the second they said that the Time Lords are infertile, I called bull. Even Garleen said that was fucking bullshit because where the fuck did Susan come from?
The implication here is that the Master killed all the Time Lords using a genetic bomb, and that's why they're fertile. Is as a
Oh,
result
for
of that.
fuck's sake! How was I supposed to follow that?
You're not. I think it's baloney. And by the way, the doctor wasn't even there for that. So why would he be fertile? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
How did they even know this?
Well, I mean, he's not fertile because he fucking knocked up fucking Belinda Chandra.
Okay, can I say something nice and then something mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
There was one really cool thing. You see this a lot in dramas and sci-fi shows, movies with a lot of dystopian futures. The phone that you could call in your house in case somebody in your house is having doubts. I love that kind of creepy shit. It reminded me very much of a video game I used to play a few years ago called We Happy Few, where it's like, just pretend everything's nice, everything, unless he has doubts, call the number. It's very, what's that show that ended? Margaret Atwood, la, 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 la. Yeah. Melissa Moss, no, Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, the Hunger Games. Not the Hunger Games. No, the Handmaid's Tale.
There you go. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
I'm going to say a big nope. Capital NOPE, underlined in red, however, to Shirley's fucking wheelchair.
Oh, the rockets.
Why did they put that in there?
Because they
stupid.
could. Because
She's
they could.
Nobody knows that she has it. She can't explain. Hey,
I want to. You know what? I want to see the scene where Mel is riding up the stairs on her fucking moped.
I want to see the scene where Mel gets a full-on perm between being woken up with a little signal and then showing up at unit. Look at her hair in the two scenes. It's dead flat, and it's a full perm, old school Mel style.
I think Sabalon.
So she was not in a rush to get to unit that day.
That Sabalon Glitz stopped over for a little bit of afternoon delight and decided to drop her off and get a perm just like his. That's what that is.
You know, they fucked so hard, her hair got curly.
Sabalon. I'm sorry.
He's canonically dead, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, it's timey-wimey, fucking hell. Okay, so the Ronnie, I mean, this is and the Ronnie wants to repopulate a new Gallifrey, but like the Time Lords and stuff. I mean, all she has to fucking do is she's open up her TARDIS as a room's rented by the Hour Hotel and let people fuck in there. Because that's how you make Time Lords now. Because like Amy and Rory produced River Song because they fucked in the TARDIS.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, it's really. Well,
neither did
bad.
Russell T Davies apparently.
Why? I mean, what do you think of her as sort of just the embodiment of Time Lord arrogance? Like that's basically what her character is now.
I think as Russell T Davies, like I said, she was making her master race speech. I think Russell T Davies was basically just using her as an example of the far right.
Yeah.
And just like, because I mean, she's always been kind of like that anyway, because of the whole eugenics and everything. I couldn't take her seriously at all. I really could not.
I'm sorry. I disagree. I liked her. I think they should have put her in an earlier episode just so that new fans could get introduced rather than throwing everything in the kitchen sink at the wall like they do here. I really like the fact that she's not cuckoo bananas like the Master is. And the fact that she's always been like a real hard at nails, work from home. You went to the bathroom, you have to make it up in overtime kind of bitch. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. She's like a bureaucratic villain or something.
She really was. She really ran those tetratrops or whatever hard.
Oh God,
it's hilarious, but it's true.
The rejects from American Horror Story, like the cross between them and like the Borg.
I agree. She should not have had to share her first episode with Omega. Like, why are you
that wasn't fucking Omega. 30, that wasn't Omega.
Minutes.
That was just some stupid slobbering Skeletor type creature. That was not fucking Omega.
But like literally an hour after her reveal as the Ronnie, she's teasing Omega. Like she's sidelining herself in her own story, where it's like, oh, okay, we're done with this Time Lord we've met. Time for us to invest in the next one, right? Like she should have just been the villain, and it should have been the Doctor versus the Ronnie, and it didn't need to. And like you said, if they didn't want to do that for the finale, if the finale needs to be bigger, then you need to put the Ronnie earlier in the season.
I always feel like
Well, they
Archie.
did. Well, technically, they did because fucking Mrs. Flood was there the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I always feel I think RTD has this big box of toys, and like Mark Gatiss carts it out when it's time for him to write the finale, and he's like, "Here you go, Russ. Here's your big bag of toys. Write something up. I'll be back in 3 days." Shuts the door. Just gives him some cigarettes, maybe some red wine. Just plug it out. He's like, "Oh, I've got my Ronnie toy here. Here's a dinosaur toy. Oh, here's a toy from Alien Resurrection. We should use that somehow." That's what I feel. It's like Darth Shell or whatever it is in Spaceballs.
Yeah. Can we talk about Conrad for a minute? This character at the end of this travesty of a two-parter was practically lobotomized, as far as I'm concerned. Have a happy life. As a minimum wage slave, okay, could he not have just become like a podcaster for good?
That would have been a funny meta joke. That would have been a much better meta joke if he had become like a YouTube tech reviewer, like he reviews Apple products.
Yes.
Right? That would have been funny. Like, awful, but in a different way, right? This episode also gives him 2 more motivations on the top of his original 3, because we get this scene with him and the Ronnie where he says, like, "I'll do anything for you, mistress." And it's like, okay, lots of ways you could read that, but clearly mommy issues. And then Ruby says he's got daddy issues. And like, what? Like, I've had enough. Like, you got to pick one and go with it. Like, this guy's just everything. And then I appreciate the spirit of forgiveness, but that's not like, you can't just wish these people happiness and that's not how that's how we've been trying to deal with these awful people, and it's blown up in our face.
Yeah, exactly.
It needed, like, I'm not saying you can't, I kind of was hoping they would do a redemption arc for him. Like, they didn't really have time, but like, it needs to be when he's met with an overwhelming rejection of his worldview and him accepting that he was brainwashed and that he needs to deprogram. But anything short of that is, I think, letting the character off way too easy. And what was actually done is way too easy. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Don't you think they kind of did that, though, or they tried to do that with the slow unraveling of sort of like his sanity by the end before he blinks out?
Maybe.
And remember, I watched this last night when I was really tired. Not drunk, but tired.
I think it's undercut by Ruby wishing him like happiness. I feel like the thing that we take away is that is what made the difference. When in reality he should have been like, actually, you know what? We could have been happy if I could have gotten over all my own bullshit, and I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had to get rid of all that and have in all the stuff with Poppy instead. But I think he would have been better served as one of y'all. Here I go again. One of you all brought up last time when we talked about his story that he was like the Ronnie's companion. Instead of doing this bifurcating, by regenerating whatever it is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they missed the perfect setup because the whole thing about Omega returning is like he needed to have, and I'm still going old school. If for him to be able to even exist in our universe, he had to have a host. And that's what I thought they were setting Conrad up as.
Yeah. What if Ronnie didn't tell him? And she was like being really nice to him. And he was like, mistress. And then it turns out, oh, by the way, he's taking over your body.
Yes.
You know, they've done that before, haven't they? I know. I don't know if they've done it in Doctor Who, but I feel like they've done it before in a movie or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or Inside Number 9. I think you and Chris were talking about that on one of your past episodes of Circumventing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I thought that was going to happen, was that they were basically setting him up to basically be the fall guy. And
that would have been so good. That would have been good too. Like, I think he is a good actor, and I think having him go from like sleazy bad guy who's clearly overcompensating for an inferiority to
completely over the top.
Yeah, to then be the exact opposite, like maybe literally the smartest person in the entire universe.
Yeah,
and has the receipts. Like, that would have been fun.
Yeah, and if I may mention, this is really gay for the gay folks. He gets my award for the Sean Homrig Bedroom Award of the season for Doctor Who.
I mean, what would the runner-up be? Like, the season seems starved for choice.
Kate's boyfriend,
Ncuti Gatwa, looked really good in the in that outfit, and they.
Oh my god! So I mean, I had to laugh. I gotta laugh at this. Darlene had like the best line of the whole, because she viewed this with me. She had the best line. She's like, So Ncuti broke the universe by putting on a skirt.
That would have been better than the actual answer, which is that they open a door to the reality hotel, and he's like, "Keep that door open. That's the key to everything." And I'm like, "Oof."
God.
Like, so we're not going to do a resistance metaphor or anything like that. It's just going to be this door.
Oh, and then
this episode leans real hard on that. By the way, that episode leans real hard on that Christmas special. Like,
they did.
There are multiple callbacks.
If you didn't see that Christmas special, and I'm sure a lot of people did, like, you're gonna be completely lost. And I mean, and of course, we had more fucking flashbacks because she opened the door. She's looking for the doctor. You know, I would have loved to see a scene where she opens the door and he's on the shitter.
I think she should have opened. I think she should have opened a door on a classic Doctor Who scene. Looked to her right, seen one of the Clara clones that were through his backstory. Nodded to her, and then they both fuck off. Like, that would have been funny.
And it's like the pan over to the fourth Doctor and Morbius.
Yeah,
behind a rock,
and it's Clara. And the Clara's there, and then she's there. I mean, I don't know. Go full. This is what I mean when it's like, if you're going to be silly, like, go full on about it and actually be funny. But that's the problem. Like, every attempt to be funny just falls completely flat in these things. Like, there's just a timidness. There's a timidness to this that I don't know. It's the same thing. It's like they were never going to bring Peter Davison as Omega because that's just too damn cool. Like, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Instead, we get Jodie Whittaker.
I liked it. I liked that scene.
It was nice. It was nice, but it was completely.
I mean, it was no Tom Baker in the 50th anniversary special.
No, it was. I mean, it's just. It's just like, okay, yeah, you got shit on too with shitty scripts, and
also it's also because I kind of forgot about her. They felt kind of bad.
As like lifelong Doctor Who fans and podcasters, we're already thinking about how we're going to put this episode in context of the entire.
Oh, I'm not even going to bother.
Canon or whatever. But like, for most people, it's how do you feel when you watch the episode is the only thing that matters. And I enjoyed these episodes. I wasn't miserable sitting down watching them. And part of it is not knowing what was going to happen. Like, when she shows up and you hear her voice and you know who it is, it's like, oh, wow, they're doing this, right? You don't know it's going to be terrible. I'm always disappointed. Like, at every point I have been disappointed in how the episodes end and the choices that he makes. But, like, it's not until it's over that I'm disappointed. I'm enjoying watching it, and I'm able to have hope that it's going to come together, even when it rarely does.
Yeah, I think we're kind of cursed because we are old school Doctor Who fans. I mean, Darlene mentioned to me that, because I asked her, like, what did you think? I was like, well, I enjoyed it, but it doesn't feel like Doctor Who to me. That's what she said. Like, in the whole of these two series of Disney Who, she just felt like, I liked it, but this didn't feel like Doctor Who to me. This felt this felt like another show that I'd like to watch, but it wasn't Doctor Who, and I understand. And she said, I understand why you have so much issues with it, because you are invested in the show's past. It's just like, basically, because like there's a show called The Mayfair Witches that was on, and it's based on the book. And everyone's telling, like, oh, this show is great and everything. And she watched it and she fucking hated it because they took so many liberties. Yeah, they took so much liberties because she's a stickler with, like, oh, it's got to be like how the book is.
Oh shit!
So
that's the wrong franchise for that. They changed. They completely rewrote the vampire books.
And that's the problem I have with this, because this was not Doctor Who. This has the trappings of Doctor Who. This has all the names of Doctor Who. But this wasn't fucking Doctor Who. This was fucking fanfic. This is basically Russell T Davies shitting on the history of Who, just not honoring it at all. You dishonor the Ronnie, you dishonor Omega, you dishonor Susan, you dishonor. It's just like, you've got an agenda. I've got an agenda here, and I'm going to just,
It would be okay. Do you remember that old clip? I don't know what disc it's from. It's around the Sixth Doctor's era. And Chris Chibnall, as a little kid, is berating J&T.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we
cringe.
need to have people berating RTD on TV, but a good forum where everybody could sit down that's not at a con that RTD is not at, where we could really discuss this without seeming like a bunch of sycophants in the room with him, that would be great. But it's
RTD,
so political.
RTD is not going to be receptive to that because he's just going to dismiss you as
I want to know. I want to know in what order he wrote the episodes. Okay, I cannot believe that the same guy that wrote Midnight wrote this thing.
Yeah, but see,
Okay.
but you have to understand. You have to understand.
I know
John.
he did.
There are
I know
ye-
he
there
did,
are
JB.
ye- I know, but there have been years, if not decades, between those stories. And in that time, he got more political. He got more activist with his writing, and it's basically it's all agenda. He's trying to he's alien. I mean, he is on purpose pissing off the old school fans, and he is gleeful about it.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
Okay, wait. no.
I feel strongly about this.
Yeah, go on.
I do think there is this deep internalized shame that both he and Stephen Moffat have about being Doctor Who fans, because I think it was different in the UK. I think you really were ostracized on the playground if you liked Doctor Who, and if you wanted to be at the cool kids table, you had to pretend to be in it ironically, or just pretend like you hated it and that you were pretend like you were in on the joke, right? Modern fans don't feel that way about the show.
I do now. I'm embarrassed to be a Doctor Who fan. I'm completely embarrassed now too.
But I think
American
American fans who came to it in the Tom Baker years,
Yeah.
which is where the show started. Like, and not to sorry to everyone who watched it during the third Doctor era, but Doctor Who started with Tom Baker, and that's why we know. That's why we even know what it is. There is this hostility to taking itself too seriously. But when you're running the show, you should really take it seriously. And I don't think Russell T Davies lets himself do that. No. Maybe he doesn't want to deep down. Like maybe deep down he thinks it is a joke, but it doesn't. It definitely reads to me like there's this hostility to a certain. There's no question. This is the guy who wrote Love and Monsters. There is a hostility towards a certain kind of fan that is unhealthy. Just unhealthy for like making a television show. Like I said, like why are you teasing the return of Gallifrey if you're not going to do it when you know that's what a lot of fans want? Are you just trying to be mean? Like this is. What do you think the ratings are going to do when that happens? Like,
yeah,
your hardcore fans. This is something the Avengers movies figured out that was so brilliant. They said we can do all the confusing comic book shit if we're huge, because YouTubers will make videos explaining it, and everyone will know some nerd friend who will explain it to them. I walk out of every X-Men movie and I explain to my mom like what happened. So she's like, "What the hell was going on with this guy?" And I had to explain to her. It's like, well, see, Magneto's a huge asshole. That's his whole thing. So
yeah,
sometimes he just decides to like lift up the Golden Gate Bridge for fun. There's an entire economic industry built around making explainer videos for Star Wars and Marvel and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And so you don't have to shy away from that deep nerd stuff anymore. And in fact, people like it. Even the people who aren't going to get it like it. They like watching those videos. They like the lore. Lore is popular. And Russell T Davies has missed that trend.
Yeah.
Let me ask, are you telling me that Rian Johnson, who has made a great career for himself after what many fans consider a Star Wars abomination? I'm not that big of a fan, so I can't tell you what he made. Has he ever gone on those types of interviews on YouTube and talked about Star Wars?
I don't know. I'm talking more about like the videos that drop like the minute after the episode airs, and it's like 86 things you missed in last night's Doctor Who or whatever.
Oh, okay.
The explainer videos, those kind of things where it's
not the HBO get to know you shit where it's
no. This is like this is a hardcore nerd. He always has mini toys in the background. It doesn't matter who's making the video. He has toys in the background.
What's his name for he did The Talking Dead? He quoted my tweet too. What's his name?
Oh God, that guy.
Yeah.
Didn't that guy have a huge like sexual harassment thing, and then it got
it was Chris. What was his name?
Chris Hart, not Hardstark. Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick. Yeah.
He would do that after The Talking Dead. He would sometimes have the actors on, but he would talk about, what people were saying on social media. He would talk to the actors, but it wasn't that kind of like, I don't know how to explain it.
I actually don't love it when the
actors appear, because then it seems more like
I actually
behave ourselves.
I don't like that the creator is invading a fan space. You're trying to tell us what to think about the episode. It's our job to tell you what we think about the episode is.
The whole point of, Shirley being homeless and like he doesn't see the homeless, the crippled, the disabled as people, and like Ruby, and then Ruby knows instantly that everything's wrong. I mean, are they insinuating that Ruby has some sort of mental illness?
I don't know.
They're insinuating that her experience in the episode 73 Yards has given her a power to see through these kind of alternate realities.
Yeah, I mean, they never explain how she makes it snow. That never got explained.
I hate this the more I'm talking to you guys about it.
Yeah, the snow thing drives me crazy. And you can't. I don't know that you can blame. You can't blame that on her leaving early. Like you had to have an idea there, and you could have wrapped that up conveniently. And you're just like, "Psych! It was all a trick." And I'm like,
"Right? No,
it wasn't. It snowed like indoors, buddy."
You just completely ignored it, just like you completely ignored Susan Foreman, just like how you completely ignore how the doctor just went batshit insane was wailing on this genocide survivor, turned terrorist. We're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole now.
Yeah. To go back to what you were originally saying about like, is it okay to act for like the actors or creator to do this? I love the Unleashed making of stuff, but it's usually very technical. I think what rubs me the wrong way. Do you remember during the Chibnall era where they were like, "Hey everyone, we're not going to call them the Doctor's companions anymore. We're supposed to call them the Doctor's friends." And it's like,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. They were really pushing on that. And it's like,
guys,
hey, we're the ones who coined that term, not you. And I'm sure there's a BBC memo somewhere where it's like, okay, maybe they did do it first, but it's like, that is clearly the fans' decision on what to call them, not yours. Mm-hmm. So mind your own bit. It's like, you guys ever play Uno? I have kids. I play Uno.
Oh yeah.
In Uno, the technical rules are that when you get a draw 2, you're supposed to skip their turn. No one on earth plays it that way. And it's just like, hey, you know what? Maybe just update the rules to the way.
Wait a minute. No, when you get a draw 2 or a draw 4, that's your turn, and then it goes on to the next person.
Nah, no one.
That's how we always. No, we did cutthroat Uno in our house, sir.
No. You draw 4 and then you take your turn. Because why would you skip a turn? It doesn't make any sense. I've sidetracked this.
It's okay.
The point is,
for me,
it's just like, don't tell me what to think about the episode. And I think Doctor Who tries to do that a little too much. There was an X-Men writer, and I can't remember his name, but he had the smartest thing about canon. Because he said the mistake that X-Men writers make is they think that to add to the X-Men canon, you have to get hired by Marvel and then write an X-Men comic, and now you've entered the canon. But he says the canon is actually the stories that the fans think are important. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones that matter. It doesn't matter what the Marvel editors say. It doesn't matter what the publisher says. If you want to retcon a story that no one read 30 years ago, no one gives a shit. But if you want to retcon Dark Phoenix Saga or whatever the 10 biggest, most important, most loved stories are, the fans are going to be pissed unless you do a really good job.
Yeah.
And I don't think Russell T Davies understands that the fans, you can't change what Davros looks like. Sorry.
Yeah.
We get to decide that. It's actually not within your power as the showrunner to make some of the decisions that you think you can make, because we're just going to reject it.
I think that's a great comparison to what the Marvel folks said. That's a really good point. A year from now, everybody probably will have forgotten about this. We don't know where we'll be a year from now. And that's where this podcast ends. One thing. One thing. Well, not ends, but for now.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, I'll get to that.
Okay, I just have one more question.
Yeah.
I'm not really much of a makeup queen. Is it me, or did they change Ruby's makeup?
I did kind of notice that. I didn't think of anything of it. I thought they changed her hair. But I mean, she's been gone. I
I think they changed her hair a little bit, and then they gave her less eyeshadow. I don't know when this was made, but maybe that's the J.D. Vance backlash of the RTD agenda. I don't know.
Do you think the show is done on Disney Plus? Do you think we've seen the last Doctor Who episode on Disney?
Yeah, and I will tell you, and I'll tell you this. I'll tell you guys this. If the Disney deal is off, and if this ends up on a streaming platform that I don't have, I'm not going to bother getting that streaming platform. I am not going to bother trying to pirate this episode because I'm breaking up with the show.
What if it takes like a 10-year break? What if it comes back totally different? Like there's no one involved. I'll be 67 years old. Lots of time on your hands.
Wow, that was great. This podcast just took a great turn.
I'll be 67 years old, and at that point, they'll be beaming it straight into our brains. I guess we should look back not only at the season, but at Ncuti Gatwa's era as a whole, the short era that he had. He still had more runtime than Christopher Eccleston.
Mel has been in almost as many Ncuti Gatwa episodes as she was in Colorado episodes.
Mel was completely fucking wasted in these stories.
She is so cute. I know. She's like better now when she's in this than
But they give her fucking nothing to do.
I know.
I don't care about these unit characters. They're not Yates and Benton. Yates and Benton. We had it's the time investment that we had with those characters. They were able to build up these characters and give them backstory and give them moments and stuff. I don't give a shit about any of these people in Unit.
Yeah, neither do I. Shirley is like, whatever. You're the new scientific advisor. You're in a wheelchair.
Okay, so the whole thing. Okay. So the whole thing about the whole political debate they were having, Shirley was having with fucking Belinda, it's like, fuck this. I'm not going back to this fucking horrible wish world.
No,
and
Belinda,
Belinda's
Shirley,
like, not without my baby.
I want to know when Shirley realized she had the rockets on her were they all the time? Because eventually
when they activated the fucking chips that they implanted in their
it just suddenly appeared. They weren't there before. It's not like, oh my god, look what I found in my wheelchair. We can buy so much ramen with this. That's what I thought when I saw her zooming around. It's like, why did they put that in there? I guess they don't want to have a shot of her going, okay, I'm getting right over there. And then she's like, it's okay, just cut. It's okay. No, she hit. It's just, and I know. If they don't put that in there, people are going to be like, "How'd she get to Unit? Because she's in a wheelchair. Maybe she took a cab. She's homeless. That's right."
Again, Mel got an entire perm, so she had plenty of time to get there. Like, why this is his wish world? Why is he wishing for? Whatever. I
don't know.
You can't think of. By the way, here's a brain twister. Ronnie's entire plan was to have the Doctor travel around the universe with this Vindicator thing to build up energy. Why couldn't she just do that with her time ring? Like, she's traveling through time. She's in all these places.
I don't know.
Those aren't phantom projections. She's doing the same thing. She could have just taken it all around. It doesn't make nothing in this era withstands 10 seconds of introspection or thought. Like it's.
No, it's all about the feels. It's all about the surprises. It's all about, because I imagine, RTD was squeeing along with the fangirls with Jodie's appearance, with Billy Piper's appearance. It's all he's playing. He's playing to the fangirls because that's all he has fucking left because he has alienated everyone else.
As interesting as it could be, you can't help but feel desperate. There's no way to look at that. There's no way to look at that last image and not think, wow.
It was basically to get press because how do we get press? We do stunts like this. And fucking hell, it was in fucking apnews.com. It's like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Getting that kind of press has never been less important for a television show.
Exactly.
It just does not matter. Like, there is so much television. Like, do you guys realize how much television they're making? Even now that they've pulled back a little because people realize these streaming sites have to make money eventually. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is thousands of hours a year in original programming if you count reality TV. The viewers have become more sophisticated and have processes in place to make sure they're only watching good shows. They're trusting their networks. They're looking at social media about what real people are saying about the show, and that's how they're deciding what to watch. They're not giving things a whole season anymore. They came in for the Christmas special. They came in for Space Babies, and then they left.
Yeah.
Because it was really bad.
Yes.
This is fantastic. That's what you just said about there's so many hours of television being produced every day, week, month, whatever. I majored in television in college, and my dad was like, good going. Good things are coming up for television. And I was like, there's no money in this. What did I go to? Law school. Scam! If I was in television now, I'd be happy as a pig in shit. There's so much stuff to work on. I'm so sorry. I'm going on a bunny trail because of drunkenness. And
That's fine. We all are.
this may be the last Doctor Who podcast that I ever do.
Oh, Jesus.
Since 2000, well, since ever. So, JB, tell us what you think about the future of the podcast.
It's done. It's
No,
done.
wait. You say that, and then 7 months from now, I'm going to be like Martha or Donna getting a text from the doctor. We're ready for a new one. Can you meet up on Saturday night? And I'll be like, dun, 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 and I'll be there, and then I'll watch it like right before, and I'll be like, fuck.
No, no.
But when it's bad, do you know how fun it is to podcast about it?
I agree that.
Trying to talk him out of it.
Okay. I know what you're doing here, Sean. But here's the deal. Okay, we're not going to get anything. We're not getting any content for at least 2 years.
Yeah, I think the next Doctor Who episode, best case scenario, is like a 2027 Christmas special.
See, I didn't know about these things.
Yeah.
So
maybe
then,
2026 Christmas special.
Yeah.
Like that's,
by then, barring anything trying to interrupt this, and that comes out, would you be willing to do it 2 years from now?
I can't say. I honestly.
You're going to change your mind.
No, I don't think so.
You're going to be like, you're going to get Doctor Who blue balls, and you're going to gather us all together for like, I don't know, a review of, I don't know, The Power of Kroll or something.
Hey, you know what? If I've got
Frontier in Space.
Okay. If I got Doctor Who blue balls, I will happily guest on other Doctor Who podcasts. I'm putting the word out right now for you, Eric and Caleb and Josh. You guys are going through some, classic episodes, and
I will parlay that because because
I will happily sit in on that podcast and talk classic Who. I'll even talk about David Tennant, Chris Eccleston, Matt Smith Who.
But you're not talking about Jodie Whittaker, and you're not talking about Ncuti Gatwa.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I really don't want to talk about Capaldi either. But I will happily do this, but I don't want to be in charge anymore.
Oh no, I don't want to do a Doctor Who podcast at all.
Yeah,
I've got like 3 that I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll happily guest on Mostly Heartless Cabaret. I'll happily guest on. I did a guest on the Doctor's Beard, which is a fellow podcast from the Doctor Who podcast, the Direction Point Podcast Network. I think I might be lined up to guest there again on like the 5 Doctors, because I did the 3 Doctors with them, and so I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But John and Jim, if you're listening, I'm totally up for that. Just shoot me an email. Okay, so inside baseball time here. So we had actually talked behind the scenes about in the future. I had gotten a hold of PDFs of the 1980s Doctor Who role-playing game. And we have this sort of idea germinating that maybe in 6 months to a year, do a Doctor Who role-playing game podcast. this is this very tentative stages here.
Okay, this is my thoughts on that. I've already told this to you, JB, and this is for Lelon and the readers at home.
Yeah.
The thing is that module that came out in the 80s, it was current as of Peter Davison, and then it just kind of went out of print, I think. And they didn't produce any stories to play with it. And one of JB's greatest concerns about doing a role-playing game was all the preparation that you have to do beforehand.
Yes.
But they have games that you can buy. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Wait, let me go back. There is a current Doctor Who game, role-playing game for the current series. I know they're current as of Jodie Whittaker. I don't know if they're current as Ncuti Gatwa, and I don't know how it reflects the gameplay. But they do publish separate stories that a game master can play. It's already been done. You'd have to read it beforehand, but it wouldn't have to take any like creation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, but those might be available. Because you have like the game master's booklet, and then you have the player's booklet.
Yeah.
They might be available in PDF somewhere.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So, I mean, I thought about maybe doing sort of like an amalgamation of the two different games and just sort of like simplifying, because, I mean, the Doctor Who, the FASA Doctor Who role-playing game from the 1980s is very complex and very convoluted. And I think it's just too complicated for a casual gamer like myself to really get into. So I think we need to do a lot of modifications in order to do that, because I want this to be fun. I don't want this to be work. I want this to be fun, and I wouldn't mind actually coming up with scenarios of our own, and just because I kind of see it as like part art role-playing game, part improv. And I know kind of like,
that's what role-playing is.
Yeah. But I want to keep it kind of light. It's an idea that we're percolating. It's going to take a while for us to really get our shit together and make it happen. But as far as Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, this is it for Doctor Who Gives a Fuck, I think.
We're tired.
We're all tired.
Well, I mean, Lelon may be tired. I hear some of the fire in Leon's voice. And I was thinking, wow, he sounds just like me back in 2011 when we were talking about when Pandora opens.
I feel more drained at the idea of talking about classic again, I think.
Really?
No.
It's just because I feel like everything smart that you can say about it it's just getting a lot harder to say smarter things about Classic Who. Very, very smart people have been podcasting about Classic Who and have done the whole watch through.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to say, best thing ever said about the Sea Devils. This is a horrible episode if you're a sandwich. That was Steve from the TARDIS Tavern. I'm so sorry. That was so stupid. I interrupted you and for that. And I'm so sorry.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm always going to be there for what they're doing new. The fact that they're not doing it very frequently makes it just a little easier. It's just they're just not asking a lot of my time.
It's like, why bother? Because it's like the show is not important anymore. It's not part of the cultural zeitgeist anymore. It stopped being It stopped being important. Once everyone jumped ship after Capaldi, that was basically it for like. The popularity of Doctor Who was...
You're not the first person to have observed that, because like it's becoming such like a Western online monoculture that like it used to be just being Doctor Who was enough to be relevant in English culture, I think. Like it was like you said, it's still making headlines when they put Billie Piper there, right? But reality is that if the show's not good and people aren't watching it, people are just not going to talk about it.
No.
And that's what's happened. And it is not relevant. Yeah.
You're right. I never want to do a podcast about this at all, Lelon. You are very a depressing person.
It's if the show had ended better, I would have been really pissed at the fact that Russell T Davies what was the worst part of this? Was it the launch or was it the way it ended? I don't know. But the way that Russell T Davies launched it, I think was inexcusable. I think that was just malpractice. Like, you're going to bring David Tennant in for these 3 weird specials, then you're going to do a musical Goblin Christmas special to introduce the new Doctor, and then the first episode when they come back as Space Babies. Like that's a 1-2-3 punch to the gut to anyone trying to onboard around this time.
I would say punch to the balls, but go on.
I think you need to. I think he needed. He did not set himself up for success. Like,
no,
and then didn't like make a lot of really good episodes to make up for it, right? Like you could maybe pull yourself out of that tailspin, but you weren't giving yourself any leeway with what you did.
Yeah. I mean, this season alone, we had 2 episodes that we really liked. We had one episode that we were kind of split, but I think
which one was
that first episode
with the story in the engine.
With Lux and the Well, I think we thought like Doctor Who was back.
Yeah.
I love those. They were great.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, okay, we're 2 in a row. I mean, I mean, it's kind of like Vegas odds. How long can we keep these up? I think at this time, I want to thank a few people. I want to thank, first of all, Chris Buchanan. Man, we miss you. I understand why you bowed out when you did, but it's the 3 of us the 3 of us started this show. We were excited about the Fugitive of the Jadoons episode, so we like, okay, we got to talk about this and we got to record ourselves talking about this, and then the pandemic happened, and then we basically, this was our lifeline for about for a couple of years, and we kept going. And I mean, I always enjoyed just have, it was like a laugh riot because we just made each other laugh, and it was a chance to have some social interaction when everyone was sequestered from each other. And we just kept it going, but then just like the show kept getting worse and worse and worse, and we just ran out of things to say. I don't want to be Radio Free Scaro. I don't want to be a reanimated corpse. And I can only imagine, because Radio Free Scaro, it's just really interesting because I know that those 3, they must hate what's been presented, but they have to keep it positive. They have to keep the engine running, because they, I think if it were up to Warren and Chris, they would have jumped ship a long time ago.
I do think there is a significant piece of fandom that interacts with the show in that way, which is like it's just so core to their identity that they can't ever say anything negative about it. Mm-hmm. And there are podcasts that play into that.
Yeah.
It's like worst Doctor Who episode ever. Well, let's talk about 8 out of 10. That's the worst they'll do.
I mean, they didn't used to be like that because like they hated the end of time, and now that RTD is back, I'm wondering.
Well, but that was before they got all the perks. That's before that they got all the access to the show, and then they were basically the fucking mouthpiece of the show.
Well, yeah. First it was Podshock, and then it was them, and they're fine. I mean, they're getting the royal treatment at Gallifrey, all that. And should I say I'm jealous? No, because I haven't put the work in.
No.
Every Sunday morning or whatever they do it. And I say this because not because I was the guy that canceled last night. That's not usual for me. I'm sorry, but I do another podcast with a guy who doesn't always dedicate to the same time of week, but but also the unfrank reviews still do bother me from time to time, and I can speak on that a little further when we're not recording.
Okay. So I'm not interested in basically just reanimating this dead corpse. I think for my mental health now, I have to stop, just consciously uncouple from Doctor Who and be at peace with it. And it's actually going to be, I think, in a few months. And this is notice to all you all who are listening here. And I know you're listening. You're not very vocal about it, except for Robert O'Shea. Bless you, Robert O'Shea. We actually
Robert O'Shea, yay!
Yeah, we actually became Facebook friends today. So I'm sure I'm going to be seeing a lot of shit from him that I'm like, okay, whatever. But
He'll sneak into your DMs when you don't know it.
oh dear God, please don't. But I'm giving you notice to you all right now that probably in a couple months I'm going to close the podcast. Which like the TARDIS Tavern, it's just going to. It's not going to completely disappear because there are a lot of episodes that are on YouTube, and I think they will still remain available on YouTube. And
Yeah, YouTube's great to put them up just so they're there forever.
yeah,
you may want to do that before you close out the podcast.
Some of the episodes were automatically are automatically uploaded to YouTube when I publish the episodes. And I actually got some pushback because one of the episodes had a couple episodes ago at the end I added the sound clip from the Looney Tunes Duck Amuck cartoon. Mm-hmm. And we ended up getting partially banned in Russia because of that.
Oh, that's right. You told us that. But yeah, put that stuff up on YouTube. I know it's going to take some time, but it's free.
Well, a lot of it's up there already. I mean,
okay. All right. Just telling you, it's what I learned. I should have done that with the TARDIS Tavern.
Yeah, exactly. You know, well, Caleb's got all those episodes. He can put those up on YouTube.
Yeah, but then I have to get. It's kind of difficult.
It is difficult.
It's all old people.
But
I can't.
Yeah, the YouTube webpage is It is W. Just look up Doctor Who Gives a Fuck. YouTube, and you'll fucking find us there. So yeah, because I can't be arsed to pay $5 a month to keep this show open. I really can't. So that means that all the Who 37 stuff is going to go away because I can't even begin to. I mean, I have some of the episodes still on my hard drive. I don't have all of them because it's like I listened back to some of those old episodes. It's like, oh my God, I sound like a fucking idiot.
This is why I don't listen. Because the last time I listened to myself on a podcast, it was one of your Who 37 episodes, and I'm like, I can't listen to myself anymore.
Oh dear. Yeah,
I was getting ready in the morning and like la 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 la, and then I hear it's a Dalek Cyberman dead and a podcast. I'm like, nope, not for me this morning.
Yeah. But I mean, I had to start somewhere, and it was an interesting journey. But I mean, I've gotten to the point where in my life where like I'm not really nostalgic because I don't really want to look back at my past because it's all full of cringe. So, I mean, I still have, I have some of those Who 37s that are saved on my hard drive. I might do something with those, post those on YouTube. But yeah, just if you want to keep these on audio, just download them while you can because in a couple of months, they're probably going to be gone.
They're going to be collector's items. They're going to be worth thousands of dollars at a convention when we're dead.
Yeah,
and Doctor Who cannot be found.
And I actually wiped one of the Doctor Who Gives a Fuck episodes completely.
The one that we were two really drunk on, like other than this one.
No,
no, I'm so sorry. I had to stop asking questions.
It was actually the one where we reviewed The Doctor's Wife. We did a commentary on The Doctor's Wife.
Okay. I don't remember that.
It was the one. The episode was called "Gay for Gay Men."
Okay, yeah, I can see how you would delete that.
Yeah, because when that shit went down, it's like, okay, that shit's going down. So that one's lost. That one's lost to that one's been completely wiped. So yeah, so I want to thank Chris Buchanan for being there with us at the very beginning of this venture. Lelon, you've been a great second, third man, I guess is what we should call you here. I appreciate all the insight that you brought into this show. It's a different vibe. It's a good vibe. And thank you for coming on and joining us.
I wasn't clicking with Doctor Who when it came back in 2005, but I love the books. And so I'm like, is anyone talking about these fucking books? And that's how I found Doctor Who podcasting. I found Sean and Eric's podcast, and then that led me to TARDIS Tavern, and then that led me to you had someone from Verity on, and then Verity led me to Galley One.
I'm so sorry that I was your gateway drug.
I mean, I feel like I stopped listening to them all at the right time. I think they went on hiatus too. Like all the good ones stopped. They came back, I think, but like they're all gone. All the great podcasts are gone except the one that's. I only listen to the 3 Doctor Who podcasts. It's Jason's on the Target novelizations, and it's Eric and Kyle doing the writers' room. That's it. Everyone else.
Okay. They're
like
still
in terms
doing
of active Doctor Who podcasts from anyone who I ever listened to. There's only 3 left, and I used to listen to dozens. They're just. Everyone's bowing out. I'm wrapping mine up by the end of the year. We're going to finish the first Doctor era. We're going to get up to the 50th anniversary special. And then if the kids want to keep watching it on their own, that's fine. But we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah. And I think, Doctor Who podcasting is just sort of, it's really going by. Reality Bomb's not doing it. They said they're going to be back in 6 months. It's been like almost a year and they haven't come back.
Have you ever listened to The Moment? Don't remember who does it, but it's like each episode is about a very specific scene or line, and it's just like, what's your favorite moment? And they're very short too, like they're not 90-minute episodes, like super short. What's your favorite moment and why? That one's good, and it's been promising a return for a couple of years now, and it's not. I just think people. It's just hard to get into it. When
it's like life goes on. Life goes on. It's just like I don't have time for this anymore. I don't have time to dedicate, any specific amount of time because it's like, because it's like I've moved on.
And here's the other thing. I know you guys are picking up on this. Like, it's just not healthy to care about something more than the person working on it cares about it. You're just killing yourself, right? And that's kind of why I'm still into anything the new show. Anything I'm there. I love watching the show live, and I will watch the show live as long as they keep making it. But I'm doing it from a point of view of like, I know how much effort these people are putting into it, and that's how much effort I'm going to put into it, and that's what I'm going to expect to get out of it. And it's not a lot. And again, they're only making 8 episodes every 2 years. It's not asking a lot.
No, it's not asking a lot. It's just like, okay, why bother keeping the lights on?
I don't. I hate. It just sounds mean. This whole episode is going to sound mean, but like. I love Billie Piper and everything she's been in. I've seen a bunch of her other stuff. Did you see that movie they did where she plays the reporter and it's all about that interview with that creepy royal sex pest who was on Epstein's plane?
No. What's it called?
I don't remember what it's called. But like, it's so good. And it's really about, so much of it is about class in the UK, which I wouldn't have picked up on if I weren't a Doctor Who fan and follow a lot of people online who talk about it. But it's all about she's working class and she's made it onto this television show and everyone there is posh and hates her. But she's actually the only one who knows how to make the show relevant.
Who's tweeting me? Who's texting me?
I was responding to Chris.
Oh, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah. Chris is also done with the program. Whether that was the last episode of Disney Who or not, I'm done with it. That was fucking wretched.
Damn.
And this is the thing. Chris was always the positive, because I was the cynical one. He was the more positive one. He always found something nice to say. This series completely broke Chris. And for that, I cannot forgive Russell Davis for. You have broken the spirit of Chris Buchanan. How fucking dare you, Russell D? How fucking dare you?
Okay, relax now. Relax. I'm going to have to get out the water sprayer. So do you know how Chris became a fan of Doctor Who?
His Doc.
Yes, his wife.
Yeah,
and like he was into like all the novels, and he mailed me before the podcast, years before the podcast. He mailed me this hardcover second Doctor book that was like a murder mystery in a mansion, and I left it in my car and it warped, and I sent it back to him, and I felt so bad. I'm like, oh, he hates me forever. He's always been so kind, always been so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
And then, this is what you do, Doctor Who. This is what you do. You ruin lives.
Mm-hmm. But you see, I don't know how old you. I do not know how old you are, Lelon. But
we're all the same age.
Well,
Like
no,
I watched it as a little kid. I watched it as a little kid in the '80s on PBS.
Okay.
And it was I was getting the Peter Davison episodes like 3 years after they were coming out.
When you're saying little kid, what age?
Oh, like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Geez.
No. Okay. So no.
I'm 49. I don't want to be like Patsy Stone. Like, I'm 39. No, I'm 49.
It's close. I'm a little younger, but it's close.
Okay. No, I've got over all y'all.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but
well, I'll say that. So I'm older. I'm more jaded. Not just about Doctor Who, but of everything in general. But yeah, I think we're all tired. We're basically trying to animate this corpse of a program that is been dead for a while, and this was all these last 2 episodes were just complete fucking fan wank, and I cannot support this. I cannot support this. So
okay.
Yeah.
I kind of get the fan entitlement, because this has been the 100th time that we've seen this with RTD. But yeah, I think a 2-year break would be good. Remember when like a 1-year break would be like, oh my God, what am I going to do without Doctor Who?
I don't think 2 years is enough. I think it needs to sleep longer.
Yeah, I agree.
It needs to sleep long enough that the people who come back to make it are the people who like grew up with the new show but want to do something totally different. Like, it needs to look and feel.
I agree.
And sound.
And
totally
like I said,
you can't, like you said, you talked about how Jodie Whittaker was just doing David Tennant when she came back. Every doctor's doing David Tennant. Like, let them be different doctors. Let a new performance come out of this. Let's break free from this fairly constrained formula that Russell T Davies established for the show. Let's come back with a formula that's bigger and a format that works, and a worldwide streaming plan where they're going to promote the show. Man, dude, guys, they bury this thing so fucking deep in the Disney menu. It is hard.
Thank you. Wait. You're right, except for this week. You're absolutely right, except for this week. I mean, it was there when I opened up the app.
What time was that? Was it within hours of it premiering? Like,
it was late last night. It was like 11:30 last night.
Look for it right now, and I bet you it won't be there.
Yeah, it won't be there now. But when I tuned in, because I tuned in about, it was a little past 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which was about probably 15, 20 minutes after it dropped. And yeah, it was up there.
It goes by fast, and it is not.
Yeah, Andor stays up there much longer.
Yeah. And it's just not like, it's one thing. Okay, those top banners are prime real estate. Fine. Mm-hmm. But underneath that, there is an AI generated list of things. Mm-hmm. And they know that I'm watching the show, and they're not even putting it there. So it just feels like I've seen this before, and this is what it looks like when they're about to cancel a show.
Paramount Plus does that with Survivor. And maybe I shouldn't even admit that I watch Survivor, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no. I mean, we have not heard yay or nay if Disney's going to drop the show. We have not heard yay or nay if the BBC is going to keep it going. We have not heard whether there's even going to be a fucking BBC in 2 years. A lot of shit can happen, and there's no guarantees, and it's just I mean, basically, Doctor Who has just become product for the BBC. It's just it's.
Did you see Ncuti Gatwa's interview about why he was leaving on like Doctor Who Unleashed or whatever?
I didn't watch it. I read like the quotes.
He was so polite about it, but he's like, oh yeah, this is a really hard role, and I really feel it in my knees. And I'm like, This is the most unconvincing I've ever seen a human being be before.
I
Like
know.
you are so young and athletic, and you are not leaving Doctor Who because of your knees. You're leaving because the show's not good, and you see the writing on the wall, and you don't want to do one more year in what is a dead end thing.
I think I don't know. I think it's a bad career move for him.
Really?
Yeah, I think I don't know what he has on the horizon. Like if he has something, and he did before this, he was known for Sex Education and then Doctor Who, and he did a lot of plays and stuff. But if he wants to be in, I don't know what he wants. To be fair, it's up to him. But if he wants to do movies and more TV shows, I think he should continue to do Doctor Who, unless his heart is in the theater.
And I don't think his heart is in Doctor Who. I just don't think that.
Okay, all right.
I think he sees the writing on the wall. I think it was basically once the Disney thing was. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this could be all bullshit. I mean, we may never know.
He's so good at it, though. Like
I don't think we'll ever know because I don't even think we know everything about the RTD1 era, and Christopher Eccleston will say anything.
We'll know when we're old.
And Ncuti Gatwa was so polite, and like they're clearly trying to project good terms, but I really wonder how Russell T Davies feels about him leaving a year early.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. Yeah,
it's such a vote of no confidence. I don't know that there's another way to read that.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't really give a fuck.
Was a beautiful sight. Your kiss was a flame, not the spark that somehow died. And every warm embrace was real as all those tears I cried, 'cause my poor heart aches each time I wake, knowing that you're not here. But what can I do? It's over for you. And still my love won't disappear. I called out your name, and in my dream you held me tight. Funny how things seem so right in a dream. Still my love won't disappear. I called out your name,
I don't want to be your last moments of Doctor Who podcasting.
No, it's okay.
They should be classy.
Yeah.
Do we have the theme for Masterpiece Theater by any chance? Let me see.
Actually, no. I've already got the last musical cue for the podcast picked out. We're basically going to just kind of drift off in the sunset and just be at peace.
And I think somewhere the tea's boiling over.
Yeah, well, it's actually the next episode after that. But there is tea involved.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, well, if you listen to the edit, which you never do because you never listen to anything that you're in, Sean. Well, you don't.
Well, I make fun of Steve for doing the same thing, and yeah.
Direction point! Direction point!
A Doctor Who podcast network.